Broken.
What were you thinking? That they'd give you anything. You build them up while they tear you down, but still you never give up. You never give up.
They
No.
would soak the fire as you hope to rise. It was mostly lies that you broke inside. I know it's all love, I just gotta complain. I got your back, we gon' rise to the flames. You'll be at it again.
I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown. I won't let go, and nothing can stop me. I'm broken. The same old story. It drives you crazy. They put you first in line and we're never around, but still you never give up. You never give up. No. That's what you do. Step back and throw it all away. That's pain inside. Face it and throw it all away. I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown. I won't let go, and nothing can stop me.
I'm laughing at all your problems and calling you out your name. They walk all over your carcass and chalk it up to the game. They're ripping your heart apart and just tossing it to the flames. And through all of that pain, you are made.
Unbroken.
Don't let them stress you, won't shine forever, no never. Catch you slipping, we just sidestep them and sever the ties, the lies, and all of the fears inside. You've always been a friend of mine, so from now to the end of time.
I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown. I won't let go. I'll be by your side. Won't let you drown. I won't let go, and nothing can stop me.
You're laughing at all your brothers and calling you out your name. They walk all over your carcass and chalk it up to the game. They're ripping your heart apart and just tossing it to the flames.
Unbroken.
Oh, never catch you slipping, we just sidestep 'em.
You know, I used to have to sit through all of those dumb commercials for that Chrisley Knows Best reality show, which looked like one of the stupidest shows I have ever seen. Even though I never actually watched a full episode, I tried to get through one episode once, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Hey, Johnny, what's going on? So I read the news today, which actually put a smile on my face. I will not have to worry about sitting through any more Chrisley Knows Best commercials or Chrisley Knows Best episodes because he has been sentenced to prison. He is going away to the big house. Yes, indeed. Todd Chrisley has been sentenced to 12 years in prison, and his wife is going to jail. She's going to prison, rather, for 7 years. So he gets 12 years, she gets 7 years on charges of bank fraud and tax evasion. And I want to read to you what the prosecutor said. Prosecutor said the seriousness of Chrisley's crimes cannot be understated. It says after they defrauded community banks out of tens of millions of dollars, they hid millions of dollars from the IRS, all while going on television to boast about how much they spend on designer clothes. Said, and when they learned that they were under investigation for those crimes, they involved their own family members and friends to obstruct justice. So I guess Chrisley really did not know best after all. Funny how those things work. Funny how those things work sometimes. Boy, you know, brings a tear to a glass eye. I wish I could bring myself to have sympathy, but I really don't. Now let's talk about Raw tonight. Speaking of no sympathy. No sympathy, no mercy, no fun. I think I aged 10 years just watching this show tonight. I started tonight. I was 4 decades in. By the time this show was over, I was half a century old. This show aged me watching this. I felt like I was watching Raw from a year ago. This show was brutal. This show was absolutely brutal. Just a slog of a show to sit through. I could not wait. I could not wait for this show to be over. Felt like it would never end. But I am bound and determined, despite it all, to enjoy War Games this Saturday because I have been waiting for War Games to come to the main roster for years and years, and I am not going to let this spoil my fun. I am looking forward to the War Games matches, at least on the men's side. The women's build has not been very exciting. But I am looking forward to War Games on Saturday. We had Rhea Ripley tonight. Rhea Ripley was in the main event of this show tonight. Her first singles match on Monday Night Raw, if you could believe it, since May. It's been a while since we have seen Rhea Ripley in the ring on Raw one-on-one with another superstar. Tonight, she went one-on-one with Asuka, and I thought to myself coming into the show, hey, that sounds like a pretty good match on paper. And they went out there and they had a decent match. The match never got out of second gear. The match never hit full gear. We already had full gear over the weekend. We did not have full gear tonight in the main event. Rhea Ripley, though, is victorious, and so she earns her team at War Games the advantage, the numbers advantage. The order of entry will now favor the heels, thanks to Rhea Ripley's win tonight over Asuka. We're going to have to wait a few more days, though, to find out who the fifth and final member is going to be of Team Bianca, because Bianca Belair said that on SmackDown, she will make the announcement about who their tag team partner is going to be. And the crowd here tonight in Albany did not like that very much. They booed because they wanted to know. They don't want to have to wait until Friday. But it is a smart hook to get people to tune into SmackDown, the A show on Friday night. It is, let me tell you something. It is startling. Watching Monday Night Raw over the last several weeks and watching SmackDown by comparison to see the difference. I mean, it's night and day. It's almost like two different companies. Now, I don't want to just lay it all at the feet of the third hour. The third hour has a lot to do with that. But the difference in quality between these two shows is just startling. So SmackDown very clearly is the A show and has been for quite some time. Nothing I saw on this show tonight made me change my mind. We have a new match on the Survivor Series card for Saturday. It will be the United States Championship on the line. Seth Rollins is going to be defending his title against two men in a triple threat match. One of those men is the former U.S. champion Bobby Lashley. The other man is another former U.S. champion, Austin Theory. So at least we had another match added to the card, a pretty thin card, which is really all built around the two War Games matches, but we needed another big match added to the show. We got it, and I'm sure that match is going to be very good. As far as the women advantage that'll be announced on Friday, I have to imagine it's going to be Becky Lynch. You know, I was thinking, okay, maybe Candice LeRae would be, announced. She was taken out by Damage Control last time we saw her. She may actually be dealing with a legitimate injury, so I don't expect her either way. But now the way they're building this up, they're saving the announcement for the final show, the go-home show to Survivor Series. You can't throw Candice LeRae out there because nobody's going to care. This is much bigger than someone like Candice LeRae. This has to be a Becky Lynch type who is going to be announced. Although there is another possibility, which is Beth Phoenix, because Beth Phoenix, of course, was taken out by Rhea Ripley. And so it would make sense for Bianca Belair to say, hey, Rhea, I got somebody who wants to talk to you. And out comes Beth Phoenix, and that could be her return, and she could be in the War Games match. I'm going to go with Becky Lynch as my pick. I think it'll end up being Becky. Save the Beth Phoenix return for maybe a little closer to the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. But again, they're saving it for the very last minute. It's got to be a big name. It's got to be one of those two names. Those are the names that would make the most sense. This is your WWE Monday Night Raw review for Monday. Of course, it wouldn't be Monday Night Raw if it wasn't a Monday. November 21st, 2022. I am the Solomonster. I want to show you guys a fun photo here. This is a picture of Pentagon Jr. meeting George Kittle before the Monday Night Football game tonight in Mexico City. Kittle said years ago that he got his first down hand signal, his little celebratory gesture from Penta, from watching Penta. He's a big wrestling fan. So we actually had Joe Buck on television tonight mentioning the name Pentagon Jr. What a world. What a world to live in. We have Joe Buck, who is the third Buck I have seen on television going back to Saturday night. We had the Young Bucks, the youngest of Bucks, on Saturday. Tonight was the old Buck. And the old Buck was on TV mentioning Pentagon Jr. What do you know? Hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. I want you guys to make sure you have all of your alerts turned on. I know some of you do, many of you do not. Then I get the inevitable tweet. Solomonster, I didn't know you were live. I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm live every week, with very few exceptions. So if you want to make sure you are alerted about new videos and streams, do make sure that you hit the notification bell. Hey, Arizona Rich is a channel member, just became a channel member. So Arizona Rich, welcome. Welcome to our little celebration here tonight. I don't know what we're celebrating. This show is a bore, but we'll hang out, we'll have fun. Super chats are open. I want to hear from you guys, and it is, of course, the most direct way to support the channel if you would like to do so. So drop a super chat, and I'll be reading your messages a little bit later on. And the likes goal for tonight, if we should hit it and do be the booker later, is 400. We're setting 400, a modest goal in terms of likes. So get us into the algorithm, because it does help out. And smash that like button. That's all I ask of you. And we'll see if we get 400 likes. We will do Be the Booker a little bit later on. And if not, then we won't. Very simple. So let's get into this show. And I certainly hope that this review is more interesting and entertaining than the show itself was. But Monday Night Raw tonight opened with Kevin Owens. Always entertaining to see Kevin Owens on my TV. It was very cool. The reaction that he got coming out on SmackDown Friday night. Big reaction, lays out Roman Reigns with a stunner. He rounds out the men's team facing off with the Bloodline in War Games. His knee looking good. So if he is hurt, he's not that hurt, so he'll be there. He came out to open the show, cut a promo. He talked about teaming with Drew McIntyre and the Brawling Brutes at Survivor Series in the War Games match. He said that he joined the match because of someone on the other side, and it's not Sami Zayn. And he said, Sammy will always be my brother, but that's not the reason why I wanted to be part of the War Games match. He goes, I have my eyes on one man, and that man is Roman Reigns. He goes, it's been a while, Roman. It's been a couple of years since Kevin Owens tried to wrestle the Universal title away from Roman Reigns, and he pointed out 3 times I came very close, 3 different times, and all 3 times he was screwed over by Jey Uso. Back in the early Bloodline days when the Bloodline had 3 people. You had 2 wrestlers and Paul Heyman. That was the Bloodline. Now the Bloodline has expanded since then. So he pointed out the history that he has with Roman Reigns. He said he was coming to take out the rest of the Bloodline so that there would be no one to stop him from kicking Roman's ass and taking his championship. But Owens said that he did not come alone. Always good to never come alone. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat right now who do that every night. Nobody wants to come alone. Kevin Owens did not come alone. He brought friends. Drew McIntyre and the Brawling Brutes, to be exact. So they came down to the ring. It was like, they came out through the crowd. So there's Drew McIntyre, there's Sheamus, there's Ridge Holland, there's Butch, and they're coming through the crowd like a European shield. They came down to the ring. Sheamus said War Games would be painstaking and career-altering. Painstaking, another word I would use for tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. McIntyre said the Bloodline has the numbers advantage, and that all ends on Saturday. So then the Judgment Day interrupted. Rhea Ripley said the only thing anybody would be talking about after Saturday was how many women got destroyed in her War Games match. And Damian Priest issued a warning, and then it was Dominic's turn to act all tough. Oh, how adorable he looked, trying to act like a tough guy here in this segment. He told the babyfaces then to say hi to his deadbeat dad over on SmackDown. Finn Balor told the men in the ring that they would get smashed by the Bloodline. And Sheamus pointed out that Balor's house was only 10 miles away from his, in Ireland. But he considered Balor to be a plastic patty Not quite sure what that means. Maybe some of our international friends can chime in on that. A plastic patty. I think I had one of those once from McDonald's. Balor took offense, so Sheamus challenged him to a match because he says he's always wanted to get his hands on him. It ended up becoming a 6-man tag with Balor, Priest, and Dominic against Sheamus, Holland, and Butch. A perfectly fine opening talking segment. I don't think Sheamus and Balor have ever had a singles match. I know they've been in the ring together in tag matches and 6-man tags. I remember there being one on Raw many years ago when Sheamus and Cesaro were still teaming, some kind of 6-man match. There was an interaction in there with Sheamus and Balor, but I was racking my brain when this segment was over, and I don't remember there ever being a singles match between these two. And we didn't get one tonight either, so if we're going to get one, it's going to have to wait. After a break, they joined the match in progress. Kevin Owens sat in on commentary. When Dominic found himself in the ring with Sheamus, he got very scared. He got scared stiff. And he got a case of the limber tail, as Jim Ross would say, and Dominic ran away. Sheamus ran after him, and I think what happened here is the production truck was late to play the OC's music, because the idea was that the OC would come out, and they would block Dominic from running to the back, and Sheamus would grab him and bring him back to the ring, which is basically what happened. But Dominic had to slow down, and then Sheamus, who was right there, I mean, he caught up to him, but he was trying not to touch him. Clearly, they were waiting for someone or something to happen. And then finally, they played the OC's music, and here came, AJ Styles and Anderson and Gallows and Mia Yim. And so Sheamus grabbed Dominic, and he brought him back to the ring. Gave him 10 beats, only this time it was the 20 beats. So he gave him the 10 beats, and then he gave him another 10. Kevin Owens was enjoying himself on commentary. He was calling for the bro kick, which Sheamus obliged. He gave Dominic the bro kick, and he pinned him to win the match for the good guys. Everybody hates Dominic, so the crowd loved this. And I will say, it was enjoyable watching Dominic get the snot beaten out of him. So I thought this was a fine opening match here to this show. Afterwards, Balor attacked Sheamus. Gallows took out Priest with a kick. Balor left all by himself in the ring. Owens turned around, Balor turned around into a stunner by Owens, and that is how they left things. So we go backstage where we had Johnny Gargano. Yeah, I agree with Bliss fan. Kevin Owens was entertaining on commentary. Kevin Owens, he was like a fan. He was telling Sheamus, give him the stunner, or give him the bro kick. I don't know. Give him whatever move you want. Give him the bro kick. Kevin Owens is great at whatever he does, though. It doesn't matter if it's promos, commentary, wrestling. That's why I was very happy to see him come back on Friday night, because that meant that he wasn't going to be out for months with an injury. So good news all around. Johnny Gargano was in the back. Kathy Kelly caught up with him and asked his thoughts on facing The Miz tonight. Gargano said that he and Dexter Lumis, they have an agreement that Lumis is not going to get involved in his business tonight, and in turn, he will not get involved in Lumis's business when he has his match next week against The Miz. And so Johnny Gargano was out next for his match with The Miz, and they gave him new music. It's Rebel Heart, but it's a very different version of Rebel Heart. They have given him a new remixed version of Rebel Heart. This one has male vocals instead of female vocals. It sucks. Go back to the old song. I'm sure it has something to do with CFOs, because why change it? Unless they had no choice, why change it? Get in a room. Get in a room with CFOs. Get in a room with the record company. Get in a room with whoever you need to get in the room with. Lock the door. And don't leave until you get the rights to the song back. And while you're at it, get some of those other songs back, too, that they've had to change. You don't change from the OG Rebel Heart. This is an inferior version. They have downgraded his theme music. I don't like it. So Miz walked out. He was not dressed for combat, though. He was dressed in a suit, and he had a bandage on his hand. And he explained that he got hurt filming a TikTok But he found a suitable opponent for Johnny Gargano, which turned out to be Omos, who came out with MVP. That is a lie. That is not a suitable replacement. Miz was literally in a suit. He could have wrestled in a suit. That would have been better. But they gave Gargano some hope spots here. This was not a squash. They gave Gargano some hope spots instead of just having Omos crush him. Miz was out there to distract Gargano, but he escaped a tree slam attempt by Omos. He kneed him in the chest. So Omos rushed into the corner for a splash. Gargano moved out of the way. Omos hit the splash, but it looked like he hit his head on the top of the ring post, knocked himself silly. Gargano hit him with a flurry of kicks. He got the big guy down, but Omos, when Gargano came off the top rope, Omos reached up and grabbed him by the throat and then picked him up and delivered a choke slam, and he pinned Johnny Gargano. All I can say about this, at least it wasn't a total squash. Yes, the Shockmaster in the chat has her. It was half a squash. At least it wasn't a total squash. I don't even like squash. I don't play squash. I don't eat squash. This was half a squash. We had a video package recapping Austin Theory last week, attacking Seth Rollins at the end of the show, standing tall with the U.S. title. This new and improved, violent version of Austin Theory. So they announced Seth Rollins defending the U.S. title at Survivor Series against Theory and against Bobby Lashley. We went to Corey Graves interviewing Rollins via satellite, i.e. in the back somewhere, in a closet, a very colorful closet in the back. I don't know what that backdrop was. It was very, very colorful, these neon lights. So this was one of these via satellite interviews. And Rollins said that it was actually his idea to do the triple threat. It was one of these kill two birds with one stone type of situation. He said that you have to use quickness and survive Bobby Lashley. He said Theory lost everything and he might be more dangerous than ever. He also said Theory might be the dumbest person alive, not because he tried to cash in on him for the U.S. title, but because Theory tried to make a name for himself at his expense. And Rollins told Theory to call Cody Rhodes. Why don't you call Cody? Ask him how that turned out. So he said that the real question is, what are they both going to do as far as trying to beat him and take the U.S. title from him? He's not worried about them. They should be asking the question, what do I have to do to beat Seth Rollins and take the United States Championship? So it's weird because Rollins is working these matches. We see him out there and the fans are, they're humming his thing. Right? They're humming his fucking theme song. They're cheering for him. He's wrestling like a babyface when you see him in the ring. But then in this segment, it's like the old annoying Seth Rollins. This was like, almost like a heel promo here, especially bringing up Cody Rhodes, who's still, he's been gone now for many months, but he's still one of the biggest baby faces in the company. So it's a little strange. He did not really, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Rollins never did anything to turn babyface. It's just that the fans started cheering for him. So, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for him to completely change his whole demeanor and the way he acts, but it was weird, especially bringing up Cody here. It was a little strange because you watch him in the ring and the last several weeks, total babyface. Wrestles like one, cheered like one, not so much here in this promo. But then they cut to Theory in a different part of the building, and Theory was watching this on a giant flat screen. And then the Rollins promo ended, and so then they cut to Theory looking directly into the camera to address Seth Rollins. And he said that Rollins just doesn't understand. Says Seth doesn't understand him, and he said that hitting rock bottom may have been the best thing that ever happened to him. He said that he's a new man. He told Rollins and Lashley to watch what he does tonight to Mustafa Ali because it would likely be the result that they meet on Saturday at Survivor Series. And that led to Austin Theory one-on-one with Mustafa Ali. Poor Ali. Ali walks out, and he's got tape on the ribs, just like he did last week. This was after the assault by Bobby Lashley on Raw last Monday. When we last saw Ali, he was on SmackDown wrestling in the World Cup, losing. That's what he does. Losing to Ricochet. They had a hell of a match. But, he's out there, my ribs, and the doctor and the trainer, they're trying to tell him, you really shouldn't be doing this. And Ricochet tried to talk him out of it, but Ali said, no, I got to do it. Of course, he lost. So now they keep sending Ali out there. You would think if the company was so concerned about this guy, they wouldn't keep booking him in fucking matches. But they keep putting him out there. They can't be that concerned about him. They keep signing him to wrestle different people every single week. So at this rate, the ribs are never going to heal. This is becoming quickly a running gag here. This guy is never going to be 100%. But I love how they made Ali make a pit stop on SmackDown just so he could lose on that show too. It's not enough that he loses on Raw every week. We got to have him make a pit stop on the other show. Let him lose there. Then he can come back and lose again on Raw, which is exactly what happened tonight. And by the way, before I even get into what happened in the match, you go back 3 weeks. 3-4 weeks, and it clearly looked like they were building to something with Rollins and Ali, one-on-one, right? Now we have a multi-man match at Survivor Series, and it's very telling that it is not a fatal four-way. It is a triple threat. It is Seth Rollins, it is Bobby Lashley, it is Austin Theory. There is no Mustafa Ali in this match. So any idea that they may have had a month ago about giving Ali a United States Championship match went out the window, very likely, when the fans started to get behind Rollins as a babyface, and they started to book him like a babyface. Around that time, it seemed pretty clear that whatever little mini push Ali might have been getting went out the window. So I believe that he was set for a U.S. title match, and then plans changed. And it's very telling that even though he's been involved with all of these guys over the last month, he's the one guy who's not in the match on Saturday. Very telling. So Theory went right after Ali's ribs. Theory stuffed a suicide dive attempt by Ali, shoved him back first, ribs first, kidneys first, into the ring apron. He rolled Ali back inside. He went for some kind of rolling move. He rolled through the ropes back into the ring, but then he walked right into a super kick from Ali, who covered him for a 2 count. Theory hung Ali up in a tree of woe, beat the hell out of him, and then he put Ali on the top turnbuckle. Ali fought back, hit a sunset bomb from the ropes, then he connected with the top rope 450 splash. Theory rolled to the floor, so he was able to avoid being covered. Very smart. Ring awareness. Theory came back, he hit the A-Town down, and he picked up the win. After the match is over, Bobby Lashley appears up on the Titantron. Hey, Theory, I'm over here. And he tells Theory that if he wants his attention, now he's got it. And Lashley told him to stay in the ring, and we can give everybody a preview of Survivor Series. So they went to a commercial break. They came back, and Lashley is making his entrance. He's delivering on his promise. Here comes Bobby Lashley. He's cutting a promo as he's walking to the ring. He's got a microphone in his hand. And he said that he was surprised that Theory was still in the ring and that he didn't leave and take the first SUV out of town. He said all Theory had to do was pick up the scraps that he left for him after he had beaten up Seth Rollins. That's all he had to do, was just go in there and pick the bones, and he would be the champion right now, but he couldn't even do that. Theory said everybody knows that he would be the U.S. champion if it wasn't for Bobby Lashley. Theory said that Brock Lesnar kicked Lashley's ass, and then Rollins beat Lashley for the U.S. title. He said Lashley wanted redemption in Saudi Arabia against Brock, and he couldn't get the job done. He said Lashley and Rollins think they're stepping into the ring with the same kid he was before. He said that he would walk out of Survivor Series with the U.S. title, and there was nothing that Lashley or Rollins could do about it. And Lashley told Theory that he didn't think he would walk out of Raw tonight, let alone Survivor Series on Saturday. So a fight broke out in the ring, ended with Lashley beeling him across the ring with a suplex. Lashley followed him to the floor, hoisted him up. He tried to run him into the ring post. Theory was able to slip out. Lashley threw him over the barricade by the timekeeper's area. And when Lashley went over to go reach over and grab him and pull him out from the timekeeper's area, Theory had grabbed a steel chair and he jammed it up in Lashley's chest. Evidently, the announcers didn't see this because they didn't react to it at all. All they did was acknowledge that, oh, he just picked up a chair. He's going to hit Lashley in the back with it, which he did. But I guess they missed him jabbing the chair up into his chest. I'm not sure how they missed that. Theory ran to the back with Lashley in hot pursuit. And by the way, when he hit Lashley in the back with the chair, Lashley just no-sold it. So total monster push for Lashley. One good thing out of this is I like that they have kept Bobby Lashley as this just freakish destroyer on this show. He was wrecking everybody in his path a couple of weeks ago. Here, gets hit with a chair, no-sells it. Theory for the first time tonight, after, staying in the ring, acting all tough, I'm not going to back down. When he saw that, then he ran. So that, up to that point, they were actually showing a different side of Austin Theory where he's not going to back down. He's not going to be the old chicken shit heel and run away from people. He stayed in the ring over the commercial break and waited for Lashley to come down. But once he saw Lashley just kind of shrug off the chair shot, he goes, you know what? I think my night is over. And he ran. Lashley in hot pursuit follows him. So the camera shows Theory gets to the gorilla position first. And we see Ali, this poor fucker. This poor fucker. He is sitting there. And I think there was a referee or a trainer maybe with him or someone with him, right? He's licking his wounds. He's holding his ribs. Theory knows that Lashley is coming through the curtain any second now. So Theory grabs Ali. And as soon as Lashley comes through the curtain, he throws Ali into Lashley and then runs away. So now Bobby is furious. He grabs Ali, who I think gave him a shove, like, hey, what are you doing? He grabs Ali. He throws him back out into the arena. And then he takes him, he throws him, not once, but twice, into the LED boards. And then he locks on the Hurt Lock until Ali passes out, and he throws him on the floor. Ali has become a punchline on these shows. I don't know. I don't know if there's an end game for him. But my guess is the answer is no. It's pretty clear at this point, the role that they see Ali for is what we're seeing him in over the past few weeks. He's that guy you can send out there. He can lose, right? He'll be the scrappy underdog. He'll fight back. He'll get a few hope spots, maybe a couple of near falls. But it's not about him. That's why he's not in the match on Saturday as Survivor Series. If it was, if they cared enough to want to include him in this, it would be a fatal four-way, not a triple threat match. Always a chance that between now and then he kind of works his way in there, but explain to me why he would even be in that match. What has he done? What has he done? What has he won? Right? I mean, yeah, of course they could throw him in there, I guess, on Saturday at the last minute, but they're not going to. But the guy is the punchline at this point, I mean, are the ribs ever going to heal? At this point, he's going to be like a modern-day Cowboy Bob Orton with the arm cast, or D'Lo Brown with the chest protector. He's going to be wearing tape on those ribs. When they induct him into the Hall of Fame one day, when they eventually run out of names, so one day Mustafa Ali will be in the Hall of Fame, because everybody will be in the Hall of Fame at some point. When he goes on stage to accept his plaque, he'll have the tape around the ribs. That's going to be his gimmick. When he's working the convention circuit in his 50s and signing autographs and taking Polaroids and 8x10s, you can go take a picture with Ali with the tape wrapped around the ribs. He can make some money off that. That's it. That's about as good as it's going to get for him. It's pretty clear that they don't have any plans for him. That much is obvious. And, after I just got done praising his match with Ricochet in the World Cup on Friday night, now I made the comment, I said, if you look at the last several weeks of Raw, all of the matches that Ali has been involved in, as much as I like him, I like Ali. But the crowd is not responding to him. The crowd doesn't care. It's like crickets out there when he makes his entrance and when he's wrestling. Somebody mentioned his name in a promo a week or two ago and got booed for it. I think it was Rollins. They booed Ali at the mere mention of his name. But then on Friday night, the crowd was into that match. And I said, man, that's the first time in the last month plus that we have had a Mustafa Ali match where the crowd actually felt like they had a pulse and they were actually invested and they cared. Tonight, Right back to reality. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And that's the sad fact here. Nobody cared. You know, the reality is this: they're not pushing Ali. You can say to yourself, "Oh, what are they doing?" You know, is this their way of pushing him as sort of the underdog who's going to eventually, you know, go on some kind of hot win streak or something? No, the reality is Ali is not the one being pushed. Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, those are the stars. Those are the people who are being focused on right now. Ali is a tool to help get them over. And that's it. And that's his role on the show at this point. If the crowds were reacting to him in any kind of significant way, I think Triple H would take notice. But the fact is they're not. They just don't care. Matt Riddle and Elias took on Otis and Chad Gable. Gable gave Riddle a delayed German suplex on the apron. Otis held up Riddle. Gable then came off the top, hit a top rope bulldog. Otis covered Riddle for a near fall that was awfully close. Even the announcers drew attention to it. They showed a replay. It was very close. Otis went to the ropes. He tried for a splash from the middle rope on the inside. Riddle avoided it. Both men tagged out. Elias put down Gable with a spine buster, and Elias followed up with a neck breaker. He covered Gable for 2. Gable came back with a Hurricane Rana. He tagged back out, and Otis put Elias down. Gable hit him with a flying headbutt. Riddle got off a springboard dive onto both Alpha Academy members at ringside. Back inside, Riddle caught Gable with a floating bro, and he scored the pin. It is a good match. Ate up a lot of TV time. They gave them, I think they gave them over 15 minutes for this match. They gave Gargano a shittier version of his old theme, but I will say, Elias has new music, and it's actually not bad. Just to show you that I'm not a total Grinch, I actually like Elias's new song. It sounds like he might be singing it himself. I can't really tell if he's the one singing it or not, but I actually think his new theme is an improvement, whereas Gargano's is not. To the back, we have Baron Corbin and JBL, much like last week. They're in the back playing poker. And Drew McIntyre showed up. JBL took a shot at Scotland for not making the World Cup. McIntyre challenged Corbin to a match. Corbin said they could handle it right here. And McIntyre said that he respects his elders, but not you. And he decked Corbin and he walked away. So, we had Drew McIntyre against Baron Corbin, the WrestleMania rematch that absolutely nobody asked for. You know, if I were to put you on the spot, I'm going to put you on, everybody watching this right now, I'm calling you out. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. I want you don't think about it, it just comes to you. What's your favorite Baron Corbin match? Not a single one of you are going to be able to give me an answer. And if you do, you're lying. What? Give me the best Baron Corbin match. Your favorite Baron Corbin. I could tell you mine. It's a very simple question. What is your favorite Baron Corbin match? I see the tumbleweed blow by as I ask that question. I'll tell you mine. My favorite Baron Corbin match is the short one. Whatever the shortest one is, that's my favorite. That was not tonight. They gave these guys 18 minutes, and I felt every single minute of this match. It felt like it would never end. And outside of how boring I thought the match was, there was nothing wrong with it. It was technically fine, but it felt like a very long match. McIntyre went to ringside. He ran Corbin into the barricade. McIntyre picked up Corbin. He dumped him on the announce desk. And McIntyre tossed Corbin back inside the ring, then got distracted by JBL, which allowed Corbin to go on offense. Now that to be fair, in all seriousness, if you ask me the same question, what is your favorite Baron Corbin match? In all honesty, the first match I think of is the tag team match from what I believe was the very first Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic in NXT. It was Baron Corbin and Rhino against the Alpha Academy. And the finish of that match was actually fantastic, which was Chad Gable came off the ropes. They did a tilt-a-whirl spot into an end of days. That was a fucking great finish. And that is honestly the first thing I think of when I think, okay, what is my favorite or what do I think is the best Baron Corbin match? Funny enough, it was Corbin and Gable who actually had a really good match in the King of the Ring, I think it was, right? The King of the Ring tournament a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it was. So there's chemistry there between Corbin and Gable when Gable's a babyface. But yes, outside of that, it is a very short list. It is a very short list. Maybe the Money in the Bank, the failed Money in the Bank cash-in on John Cena. What was that, 8 seconds? Oh, it wasn't on John Cena. It was on, was it Jinder? Was it Jinder Mahal? I don't remember. All I know is that it was an 8-second Money in the Bank cash-in. See, short and to the point. That's my favorite. McIntyre rallied with a suplex and a neck breaker. He kicked up. Corbin avoided a future shock DDT. McIntyre, though, put him down with a Michinoku driver. Corbin caught McIntyre going for a running crossbody block and hit a fallaway slam. McIntyre performed a Glasgow kiss. Corbin, though, bounced off the ropes and put him down with a lariat. That led to the commercial break. It was Jinder, right? For some reason, I thought at first it was Cena, but no, he went to SummerSlam. Was it SummerSlam, I think? And I think he opened the show with John Cena. Yeah. Corbin is to WWE, says Louis, what Jake Hager is to AEW. Yes, the only thing he's missing is the purple bucket hat that Jake Hager wears. Corbin has his own. You know what? There actually is a lot of merit to what you just said. Jake Hager wears a stupid hat, and so does Baron Corbin. I think that comparison actually holds a lot of water. I think you're bang on with that. McIntyre got a near fall on a spine buster, and he set up for the future shock DDT. Corbin pushed him into the ropes and then tripped him. And Corbin chokeslammed McIntyre, covered him for a 2 count. Went for the end of days, but McIntyre slipped out, put Corbin down with a very awkward-looking future shock DDT. He went for the Claymore. Corbin avoided it. Corbin hoisted McIntyre up. Salute to Perk Angle. Love Perk Angle. Corbin followed McIntyre out of the ring and hit him with some punches to the back of the head. Ran McIntyre into the ring post. He charged McIntyre, who suplexed him into the barricade and drew through Corbin back inside and then played to the crowd a little bit. He started the countdown for the Claymore, but he was distracted by JBL, who was climbing up on the apron. McIntyre charged Corbin, who hit him with a deep 6 for a near fall. All of a sudden, Akira Tozawa shows up. He is standing on top of the announce desk. Tozawa has shed the black ninja costume that he has been wearing for the last few years, doing all of the comedy 24/7 bullshit. He's wearing his regular gear. I barely remember what his regular gear even was, but he was dressed in his normal attire here tonight. And he was on top of the announce desk wearing, grabbing JBL's cowboy hat. He said, "Oh, I like your hat." And then he pointed to distract. Of course, JBL looks to see, well, what's he pointing at? And he steals the cowboy hat off his head, puts it on his own head, and then runs off into the crowd. So he's still doing goofy, silly, comedy nonsense. He just changed his look up a little bit. In the ring, though, McIntyre hit Corbin with a Claymore kick because Corbin was distracted by this. 18 fucking minutes this match went. Okay, almost 20 minutes. And it ends with a distraction by Akira Tozawa. And he turned around and he walked into a Claymore kick. And Drew McIntyre picks up the win. Thanks to Akira Tozawa, Drew McIntyre picks up the victory here. That's 18 minutes of my life that I can never get back. Thanks a lot. We go to the back, and the OC were cornered by Kathy Kelly, who wanted to have a chat with them. So it was AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and Mia Yim. Now let's address the Mia Yim thing. Mia Yim is still going by the name Mia Yim, despite the fact that on WWE.com, if you go to her page, they now list her as Michin, which I think they mentioned on television recently. It sounded like they were going to use that as a nickname for her. But Michin, for those who don't know, it is Korean for crazy. And I thought they were going to maybe use that as a nickname for her. That's what it seemed to be like they were going to be doing. But now it appears like they're phasing out the Mia Yim name, and they're going to be calling her Michin from now on. That's going to be her new name, because even though they mentioned Mia Yim on TV, they also were really putting over this whole Michin thing. Even later on in the show, when they had her name on the lower third graphic, when all the women in the babyface team in the War Games match came out for Asuka's main event against Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim wasn't with them, so they quickly took the graphic off screen, but it said on there, in quotes, it said Michin Mia Yim. So this is probably the transition phase, where they're going to be phasing out Mia Yim. She's losing her name, and they're going to be calling her Michin from now on. Are we sure that the old man isn't back? I mean, we just heard a few weeks ago, right? Was it 2 weeks ago that the board of directors investigation was closed? The board of directors investigation is over. Are we sure the old man wasn't sitting in the back with a headset on his head? Maybe he snuck into the building with the glasses and the mustache disguise? Somebody needs to check and make sure. So AJ said that this thing with him and Finn Balor has to come to an end on Saturday at Survivor Series. Balor showed up. He said, "You think I'm a bad guy?" He goes, "I'm worse. I'm the devil." I didn't know that the AEW World Champion was on Monday Night Raw tonight, but apparently not only was he on Raw, but he's become Irish. So the other Judgment Day members showed up. Big brawl broke out in the back. The brawl spilled out of the building and into the parking lot area outside. Referees were out there to break things up. The best part of this entire thing, best part of this entire segment, was the WWE truck in the background. And on the WWE truck, it featured all of the current major roster stars. So we had featured on this truck, we had John Cena, Booker T, Lita, and The Undertaker. There's your WWE roster. When that truck is driving down the road and people are driving alongside of it and they're looking up and they see the stars of World Wrestling Entertainment, they're going to see John Cena, Booker T, Lita, and The Undertaker. And then when they go and they watch WWE on television, they're going to be asking themselves, where the fuck is John Cena, Booker T, Lita, and The Undertaker? Who are these other people? Who is this Ali guy with the tape around his ribs? Who is this Baron Corbin guy who's walking around with the stupid hat on his head? And this Akira Tozawa guy with the cowboy hat on? And Dolph Ziggler? Who are these people? Where are the real stars? They put the real stars on the truck. So there you go. So we had Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss. They made their entrance ahead of the main event. Rowan was on there. Somebody said Eric Rowan was on there. Was he? I didn't see him on there. If Eric Rowan was on there, though, it makes total sense. Eric Rowan is one of the few who can say that he wrestled The Rock at WrestleMania. That makes you a star. I'd put Eric Rowan on there. I know it was only 6 seconds, but he can always say that he wrestled The Rock at WrestleMania in front of 100,000 people. Nobody can ever take that away from him. Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss. They came down to the ring. The announce team noted that Mia Yim was involved in the backstage brawl that we just saw, and so she was not with her teammates. Bianca said that her battle with Bayley would finally come to an end on Saturday. She said that she knew she couldn't win it alone and said there's nobody that she would rather go to war with than her girls. and she introduced each of her partners. Bianca said that they are ready for war. Alexa Bliss said that she wants to throw Nikki Cross in the trash where she belongs. Unlike where the 24/7 title ended up, it ended up on the floor. Hopefully Alexa can actually get her into the trash and doesn't miss the trash like Nikki did. But we had Asuka yelling that we are ready for you, but nobody is ready for us. Bianca said that wait until you see who our partner is going to be. Wait until you see who the fifth teammate is going to be. But you're going to have to wait until SmackDown on Friday night because we're not going to tell you. And the crowd in Albany did not like that very much. Bayley came out and she led Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, Nikki Cross, and Io Sky down to the ring. And Bayley mocked the idea of Bianca's team having another partner. She said nobody respects Bianca, including her own teammates, who just want to be next in line for a shot at the Raw Women's Championship. That led to our main event, one-on-one, Asuka against Rhea Ripley, Rhea's very first singles match on Raw, as I said, since the end of May. This was for the War Games advantage. Ripley headbutted Asuka late in the match, suplexed into a bridge for a near fall. Bayley, Nikki Cross, and Dakota Kai, and Io. They showed back up at ringside at this point. Bianca and Alexa came out. Asuka caught Ripley in an armbar. Ripley rolled onto Asuka, who had to give up the hold because she was about to pin herself. Rhea hit the riptide. She got the pin, and she gives her team the advantage as far as the order of entry in the War Games match on Saturday. We had a giant brawl break out between the two teams. Mia Yim, who was called that name by Corey Graves when she came out, ran out and fought into the crowd with Ripley. Asuka went up and hit a dive from the top rope and wiped all of the women out on the floor, including her own teammates. I think she landed right on Bianca. So she wiped everybody. I mean, this is such an overdone spot. And what was scary is that the crowd really didn't react much to it. The crowd didn't really seem that much into this main event as you would hope that they would be. Like I said at the beginning of the review, it just never felt like it got out of second gear. It never got to full gear. So it was good, but it wasn't anything special. The crowd really didn't seem overly excited by it. I think the crowd was really just bummed out that they weren't going to get the big reveal at the end, like somebody like Becky was going to come out. Because I'm sure a fair number of people in the crowd thought, all right, they saved this for the main event so that at the very end of the show, someone's music is going to hit and they'll do the big reveal of who the fifth member is. And then Bianca just killed it before the match by saying you're going to have to wait until SmackDown on Friday night. Sorry, Albany. So I think that kind of killed the vibe for the live crowd. So Asuka wipes out everybody. Everybody's laid out at ringside. And the announcers then, I don't know if they may have just had some time left in the show to kill. They start running down the card for Survivor Series. Then they pitch it back to a replay of what we just saw with Asuka doing the big dive off the top. And then Kevin Patrick gets cut off in mid-sentence. They go off, they put the copyright box on while they're showing a replay. And then in the middle of his sentence, he gets cut off for some dumb advertisement for some dumb new show on USA called Barmageddon with Carson Daly and Nikki Bella. All of a sudden, Chrisley Knows Best doesn't seem so bad. Carson Daly, holy shit. I mean, there's a name I haven't heard in forever. I thought he was still doing the fucking third hour or fourth hour of the Today Show or whatever on NBC. I haven't heard his name in a long-ass time. Carson Daly and Nikki Bella are co-hosts on a television reality show. I can't wait not to watch. Most reality television is garbage. Not just the Carson Daly and Nikki Bella show. Most of it is absolute, just fucking dog shit. Although I have friends who are addicted to this show Below Deck. What is the, I didn't know this was such a big show, the Below Deck. What is that even about? I think it's like a cruise ship or something. Is it about a bunch of people who work on a cruise ship? I don't know. I've had like 2 or 3 different friends who have brought up Below Deck. Do I watch it? No. Why would I watch it? Below Deck. Anyway, this show was brutal. This was just an absolute fucking bore. And there was some good stuff on the show, but my God, over 3 hours, not enough to keep me interested. This show was no good. But I am keeping the faith because I have been waiting for a very long time to see War Games at Survivor Series, the 2 rings, the big cage. We got the Bloodline in there. We got KO. We've got McIntyre, Sheamus, Butch. Like, they're all going to be in there. And I have hope. I have hope that it will be a very good show on Saturday. But yes, despite their best efforts to beat the excitement out of me, I am still looking forward to Survivor Series. Here's the Raw poll. That says it all. I don't even need to say anything. Not even 20% thumbs up. 19.9% thumbs up. 32% thumbs in the middle, and a whopping 48% so far have given this show tonight a thumbs down. A well-deserved thumbs down, I will say. Jeez. What more can be said? Monday Night Raw has just, there was hope. There was hope for a while. The honeymoon phase, Triple H was enjoying the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon is now over. We knew the honeymoon phase was not going to last forever. The honeymoon phase is now officially over. Let's take a look at your super chats. Let's see if you guys were as bored of this show as I was. You can send in a super chat. I will be reading them live on the air. Bob the Builder gets first dibs tonight. Genuinely cannot think of anyone who has come out of a long-term Jericho feud better off, except Moxley. I don't know, Jericho feuded with Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie is doing just fine. Flamethrower, Fluff Salisbury, I know that you are a Walking Dead fan. Were you happy with the finale? It felt a little rushed, but was okay with me. I enjoyed it, but again, they're setting up for like 15 different fucking spin-offs. So, you didn't get the resolution to some of the stories that you wanted to get. You didn't get them wrapped up in a neat little bow. Because you're going to have, Daryl is getting his show, and then Rick and Michonne are getting their show, and then there's another one. I mean, so that's the only drawback when you have so many new shows spinning off from it. You've got some stories that were left open-ended. But overall, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good episode. Shinakuma, happy holidays to all and to the Solomonster. Happy holidays to you as well, Shin. Mark Peter, $4.99 super chat. Beyond frustrated with Ali's booking. Disappointed that we never got a match with Seth. How do you expect someone to get over with that booking? You're not wrong in what you're saying, but you also have to see reality for what it is. Even early on, before they were doing the underdog stuff where he's been losing every single match that he's in, crowd didn't care. They were giving him more television time, and the crowd just wasn't reacting to him. And the crowd is not reacting to him now because, he's booked like a loser. So it's hard to get behind somebody who is a perennial fucking loser. But even before he started losing like this, the crowd just did not give a shit about Ali. So yes, you can blame the booking in part, but you also have to lay some of that blame at his feet. Not Triple H's feet, at Ali's feet. He's not getting over. It's just not working. Josiah Ball, what's up, Solo? How good do you think a Bret Hart against AJ Styles match would be? And everyone likes so we can get be the book. I think it would have been a very good match. I think it would. I think their styles, no pun intended, would have complemented each other. AJ doing some of the high flying stuff. I think in a lot of ways it would have been very similar to the dynamic of a Bret Hart-Shawn Michaels match. Shawn was always the flashier guy. He would fly around. He had that quickness about him. And I think a match with Bret and AJ would be very similar to a Bret Hart-Shawn Michaels match. So I think, both guys in their prime, I think it would have been great. Sean Waters says, R.I.P. Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger and White Ranger. In the 90s, for me, it was all about wrestling, Batman, and Power Rangers. Power Rangers was right after my time. Slim Yoshi getting my super chat in early, though tonight's Raw was okay. I hope AJ wins this Saturday, considering he has been on a pay-per-view losing streak. One name I did not mention in the segment I did on the podcast yesterday about Stone Cold Steve Austin. We talked about Austin possibly coming back for another match at WrestleMania. Rumors maybe, could it be John Cena against Stone Cold? I talked about using a current roster member like LA Knight in that position. Some people were saying Brock Lesnar or CM Punk. One name I didn't mention, somebody brought it up to me earlier today, was AJ Styles. What about an Austin AJ Styles match? I'd be down for that. I think Austin and AJ Styles would also be a fine choice. But to show you how marginalized AJ has been for so long, I mean, until this person mentioned it to me, I hadn't even thought of AJ as a potential opponent. That's sad. Like, his name never even crossed my mind. But when he mentioned it, I said, yeah, Austin and Styles. Yeah, that would be an interesting match, and it would be a safe opponent for Austin to be in the ring with. Hyru, send Ali to NXT. Maybe that will salvage him. I don't know about salvaging, but I'm sure he could have some good matches down there. Put Ali in the ring with like a Carmelo Hayes or a Wesley. Slim Yoshi again. Insert me complaining about the commentary team again. No, but seriously, it has been a full month and it has not improved. It is hurting the show. The commentary is very bad. The commentary on Raw is very bad. It was better with Jimmy Smith. Kevin Patrick, and I had pretty much already rendered my own verdict, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Kevin Patrick is not a lead announcer on Monday Night Raw. He does MLS stuff, I think, and he may be very good at that. He is not a lead announcer for Monday Night Raw. It is not working. And you're not going to go bring back Jimmy Smith. So who do you replace him with? They're not going to replace him with anybody. Triple H is at least going to give him some time before he replaces him. But I would be shocked if Kevin Patrick is still the lead voice on Monday Night Raw when we're sitting here a year from now doing these streams. Heading into Survivor Series 2023, I'd be shocked if Kevin Patrick was still the voice of Monday Night Raw. Aussie of Steel. Hard to believe next month is 13 years since Umaga passed away. Could you see the Samoan Bulldozer going into the Hall of Fame? Yes. I think he very well could go into the Hall of Fame one day. Josiah, thank you for the super chat. Rizzo, after listening to the podcast today, Solomonster, we need more podcasts with you on Little Sleep. Well, you might get one next weekend because we have another pay-per-view. Although I don't expect Survivor Series to go as late as Full Gear. I prefer not to have another one of those podcasts where I'm going on 4 hours of sleep because it's not fun and I end up with a splitting headache and it ruins my entire day. Which is why I always complain about how long the AEW pay-per-views are. If I would watch the AEW pay-per-view and go right to bed, it might not be much of a problem. But of course, I don't have that luxury. Rodimus Prime, hope your day was oozy. Unfortunately, another boring episode of Raw on my birthday at that. Shame. Hey, happy birthday to Rodimus Prime, everybody. Let's see those birthday emojis in the chat for Rodimus. Rodimus is one of our OGs on these live streams. KFAB Wrestling in the chat says Umaga will go in eventually. I mean, the thing is, almost everybody who had a name of any kind in this company is going to go into the Hall of Fame. So, Umaga will probably get in like a lot of people. James Auburn, turns out neither Hogan nor Chrisley know best. Touche. Alex Jimenez, Solomonster sounds off on Walking Dead, please. I was very satisfied. I thought you meant you saw a Solomonster sounds off sign on The Walking Dead. I'm like, boy, I must have Boy, you know, hey, if you saw The Walking Dead finale last night, when you heard that song play, I bet I know who you were thinking of. Every wrestling fan watching The Walking Dead, when they played that song, you know what song I'm talking about. When they played that song last night, because he's a big fan of the show. You know, Punk is a big fan of the show, so that was, I guarantee you that was their little nod to him by using that song on the show. Justin Salinari with the $10 super chat. Does Baron Corbin have dirt on someone backstage? What is keeping this guy employed in WWE? There's no reason he needed that long of a match against McIntyre tonight. 3 hours. It's a 3-hour show. That's why. 3-hour shows, you end up with longer matches. And sometimes you get a match that's fucking great, right? You're glad it had 20 minutes. But you also end up with matches like Drew McIntyre against Baron Corbin, which nobody in their right mind possibly would have ever asked for. They have 3 hours of television to kill. This is why we end up with this. Thirsting Howl III. Still one of my favorite names here on YouTube. I followed your advice and Googled Raw XXX and I did not see anything about wrestling. I told you. I warned you. We got Raw XXX coming up in January. Do not Google Raw XXX. You will not get any information on the actual Monday Night Raw 30th anniversary show. I'm being told we're getting very close to the likes goal, so if you guys want to help out the stream, now is the time. Hit that thumbs up and get us to 400 likes. We're very close. Brumakian Productions, Armageddon 6-man Hell in a Cell watch along. Probably not. That's not one of my favorites. I mean, I'm open to it, but I'm probably not going to do that one. I am thinking, though, given that we are heading into the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw in January, we could do a watch-along of the entire first episode of Monday Night Raw. What would you guys think about that? I throw that out there as a possibility because I started, you know, to kind of mull over what a potential watch-along schedule in 2023 might look like. And I said, you know, we have the 30th anniversary of Raw, and you take out the commercials, and the first episode's only, you know, what is it, 48 minutes? So we could potentially do a watch-along for that. That Joe guy with the $10 super chat. I agree that Becky will be the last member, but is this scenario possible? Candice is announced as the partner and then gets taken out by the heels, and Sasha becomes the replacement announced at the pay-per-view. I don't think so. I'm gonna say no. That's a very creative idea, but no, I don't think that's going to happen. Baba Booey with the $5 super chat. Friends and I were debating the other night on who is the better option for who retires John Cena. LA Knight or Gunther? What do you think? I don't think anybody is retiring John Cena. I think John Cena will keep coming back for the occasional match whenever he's free. Because why would you retire John Cena? John Cena has said he will always be with WWE in some way. He will always come back to WWE and do a match whenever he can. I don't see a John Cena retirement coming anytime in the near future. I think you want to leave that door open to get a big name like John Cena back whenever you can. So I don't see either one of those guys retiring John Cena. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, Ali is like that defiant troll that won't go away. I wouldn't call him a troll. He doesn't have the troll hair. He's just a loser. Call him what he is. That's what he's booked like. He's booked like a fucking loser. It's not a troll. He's a fucking loser. Joseph Brooks, at this point, should Ali just go to NXT if possible? I don't even, I mean, it doesn't even matter. I'm so over it at this point. It just doesn't even matter. Yeah, I mean, you can send him there. You get some good matches out of it, but it's for his career, I think the die has been cast. I think the book has been written. Uffman Entertainment, did Ali's tweets cost him a U.S. title match? I don't know what tweets you're referring to. Is it the Braun Strowman response? I don't think so. Bryant Finley, what do you think is next for Toni Storm? I think she'll still be in the mix. I think that she'll still be, if not challenging for the championship, maybe getting a rematch. Thunder Rosa will come back. Hopefully Thunder Rosa will come back in the next couple of months. Yeah, they were doing the whole Thunderstorm team. We could see them doing more teaming together. I wouldn't count her out of that top mix just yet. As far as either a rematch with Jamie Hayter or, being involved in tag team matches against Hayter and Britt Baker, I think we'll still see her in the top mix. Justin Logue with the $5 super chat. Pumpkins are a squash too. Been a bad year for squashes. Congrats on the 15 years and hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Justin. Well, pumpkins, I don't like eating pumpkin either. They have like pumpkin spice stuff. They have pumpkin pie. I'm not really a pumpkin guy. So the same still applies that I said earlier. Joseph Brooks, buy or sell on which of these would have been the better dream match and dream program? CM Punk against the Macho Man or Y2J against Owen Hart? Better match, Y2J against Owen. Better program, CM Punk and the Macho Man. Keyshawn Johnson with the $4.99. For a second there, I didn't see the decimal point. I thought that said $499. I was about to make Keyshawn my new co-host on the show. Who would have been the Undertaker's opponent at WrestleMania 2000 had he not missed it, and why? It's all speculation. He did not have an opponent for WrestleMania. He was out long enough in advance that I don't think that there was a plan on the table for an Undertaker match at WrestleMania. Had he been able to come back early, which actually was originally the plan. I mean, the idea was that he could have been back around Royal Rumble time, but then he got injured while he was training for his comeback. Because he had some kind of hip issue in September. He was gone from September, October, November, December, January, and then he got hurt. He tore his pec. I think his pec is what he tore. So what I've always wondered is, what would have happened with the American Badass gimmick? If he was going to come back in January, would he have come back in January as the American Badass? Or maybe not. Maybe he had those extra few months, and in those extra few months, he decided, you know what, I think I'm going to change things up a little bit. Like, that's the question I've always had. And in all of the interviews that he did, I mean, this guy never did media. Rarely did he do media. And then when his Last Ride documentary series came out, and now he's doing all the one-man shows and everything, everybody's asking him the same fucking questions over and over again. Nobody asked him the question. You reinvented yourself 20 years ago, right? You came back as the American Badass. But you were supposed to come back earlier that year. You got hurt, so you were out longer. What was the plan? Like, were you going to come back with the biker gimmick in January or not? Like, that to me would have been an interesting question. Nobody asked it. Nobody asked. He would have come on the sound off. I could have asked him the question. He didn't come on the sound off. But to answer your question, I think that a match with Big Show is a possibility. Big Show ended up being added to the Fatal 4-Way. I could have seen, because we had the Unholy Alliance team in '99 with Undertaker and Big Show. So I think an Undertaker Big Show WrestleMania singles match could have happened in 2000. I think that's a definite possibility. But then again, you look at the WrestleMania 2000 card, there wasn't a single one-on-one match on that entire show. There was not a single one-on-one match on the entire card at WrestleMania that year. So maybe it would have been a multi-man match, Undertaker, Big Show, and somebody else. But I think that would have been the likeliest direction for him. There was no other obvious opponent for him. Cameron Spencer, hypothetically speaking, would a face Corbin against a heel Reigns world title feud and match interest you? No. But thank you, Cameron. Thank you for the question. But the answer is a hard no. Alberto Ortiz, pretty sure Vince is back their Bobby V style. That's why I said the mustache and the glasses. For those who don't know, Bobby Valentine was the manager of the New York Mets many years ago. And he was ejected from a game. You're supposed to go back into the clubhouse and not come back out. Well, during the game, the camera caught him sneaking out from the dugout, and he was wearing a glasses and mustache disguise. Classic Bobby V. I think Vince, I'm telling you, I think Vince is sneaking into the back. Someone is letting him in. Bruce is pushing the door open. Come on in. Come on in. Putting a wig on him. Dr. Dakota Scorpio. Fifth member is Brandy Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes just did an interview with Steve Fall on his 10 Count YouTube show and said that there is no in-ring return in the near future for her. She was at the Performance Center last summer, training, but she made it very clear that she is not coming back to the ring anytime soon. So if you're worried about that, you don't have to be worried. Rizzo, Ali is an example that Twitter is not real life. All the free Ali hashtags, and then he came back and the crowd sadly doesn't care. The free Ali hashtags, I mean, you're going back like a year and a half. It's just a different time, you know? But it's true. I mean, you're not totally wrong. I'm just saying, though, the free Ali stuff, you're taking it back a ways. Arizona Rich. Arizona Rich is our newest channel member, and he just dropped a $5 super chat. I recently could not complete a weightlifting set in the gym because you did the Strowman Express and I started laughing. Love your show. Well, look, when the Strowman Express comes through, there's usually no warning. You know, usually if you're going to drive by train tracks, the flashing lights come on and the barrier comes down. You get some heads up, you get some kind of warning. When the Strowman Express comes through, there's no warning. It's just unannounced, it's jarring. But at least it's over very quickly. Thank you, Arizona Rich. Hope you didn't hurt yourself too much. Rizzo with the $20 super chat. Oh my God, Rizzo. You know, usually I would reserve this for bigger amounts, but I gotta give Rizzo the yes chant treatment here tonight because I think that is the biggest super chat tonight. Rizzo, thank you. How about an Austin match? WWE can tell the story about how Theory's downfall started with Austin at WrestleMania. Now he could go after Stone Cold. Granted, Stone Cold Steve Austin would win, but it might be a way to get Theory over. Austin against Theory, Austin against LA Knight. You know, these are names. If you want to go in the direction of using Austin to give some rub to a younger, I say younger, I mean LA Knight is my age, but you know, Theory is a lot younger, but a current active member of the roster. You can go with a name like LA Knight. You can go with a name like Austin Theory. If you want the bigger marquee match, you're not going to go with Austin Theory. But yeah, I mean, is that an idea? Yeah, and it's not a bad one. But everybody is going to come up with 3 or 4 other matches they would much rather see. But to your point, he ate a stunner from Steve Austin at WrestleMania this year. There's a tie-in. There's a brief history there between them. and they could build a story off of it and use a current young member of the roster to work a match with Steve Austin. And even though he would lose, most likely he would lose, you could try to use that as a way to get him over to that next level. Not a bad idea. King Bling Blah. Should matches be inducted into the Hall of Fame? No, I mean, I think that there's a way that you can acknowledge them without actually inducting them into the Hall of Fame. They may do it one day, and I can come up with a whole bunch of matches I'd love to see that I think are Hall of Fame worthy, but, should matches be inducted into the Hall of Fame? I mean, it's not something that I would do. Louis says, I would sell my own kidney to get broke Corbin back. I like broke-ass Baron Corbin, but I would not be selling parts of my anatomy to get it. That's a little weird. Game Tourney Forever. Dropping a $9.99 super chat. No message, just showing some love. Thank you, Game Tourney. Thirsting Howl the Third. $10 super chat. Speaking of Raw XXX, did you ever stay up to watch Silk Stockings and the other show the WWE used to promote, Up All Night, on Saturdays? I did, and I have the belt marks to show for it. That was the Rhonda Shear show. I did not watch Up All Night. I did not have cable at that time, so the shows that I was seeing, Raw, sometimes WCW Saturday Night, those would be taped by a family member. I was not going to ask a family member to tape Up All Night. Silk Stockings I would catch occasionally because it did come on right after Raw, and it had a great theme song. The Silk Stockings theme song is actually quite good. So yes, I did watch the occasional Silk Stockings episode, but I didn't watch enough of it to really, kind of get into the show itself. Uffman Entertainment. Next year is the 30th anniversary of the 1993 King of the Ring. I say we watch all three of Bret Hart's matches as a watch-along. I think that is a fantastic idea. And I think we are definitely going to have to do something for the King of the Ring in 93 because that is my favorite all-time pay-per-view. So we will definitely do something. Erotic Confessions. Now, are we naming late-night cable shows from the 90s now? The early 2000s? When I would occasionally be flipping, and I was just looking for a movie, like a nice, classy young man, I would occasionally stumble upon these shows that you speak of, the Erotic Confessions, the Taxi Cab Confessions on HBO. I would always come across the occasional Shannon Tweed movie, the Emmanuel movies, Emmanuel in Space. That would quickly switch away, but yeah, you come across these things. Well, it's what you would expect. 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, what do you expect to be on? Rizzo. It seems like Ali is on his way out. With how he has been booked, AEW and WWE should do a trade with WWE acquiring Andrade for Ali. Well, that's not going to happen. And I got news for you. Ali, if he goes to AEW, is not going to be any better off than he is in WWE. I'm sorry. It's just, he's not going to be. He'll make an appearance on Dynamite. He'll get a nice, respectful reaction. He'll probably have some great matches. And then he'll spend the rest of his career on Dark Elevation. So, let's not make it out that, Ali has to go to AEW and he'll turn his career around. It's not going to happen. Justin with the $5 super chat. One more question for you. If you were to do a roster shakeup, who would you move to Raw from SmackDown, and who would you move from Raw to SmackDown? You repeated yourself. I don't know. Now you're asking me to book a draft. I can't book an entire draft. I don't even have the full rosters in front of me. Honestly, it doesn't matter. What difference does it make? Look at what we saw tonight. How many SmackDown people did we have on Raw tonight? How many Raw people are going to be on SmackDown Friday night? Bianca already said that they're going to announce their partner on SmackDown. Well, Bianca's on Raw. Alexa's on Raw. Asuka's on Raw. The brand split doesn't mean anything. Why even do a roster shakeup? What do you need a roster shakeup for? Guys go back and forth all the time. What's the purpose? There's no purpose. They already ignore the rules of the brand split, so who cares? Doesn't make a difference. Thomas, it's been a while. I agree. It's Becky. Happy 15-year anniversary. Yeah, it's definitely got to be Becky. Although, I have to say, there is always the possibility of a wild card being Charlotte Flair. Charlotte has been gone since April. April or May? I think May. She's been gone for a very long time, longer than Becky. And she is ready to come back whenever they're ready for her. Always the possibility that it could be Charlotte Flair. Because there's been talk of maybe Charlotte working Bianca at WrestleMania. So if Charlotte were to come back, you could plant a seed in the War Games match that eventually gets you to Bianca and Charlotte at WrestleMania. So I think it'll be Becky, but keep an eye out for Charlotte because she could be the wild card in the equation. Yukio Rules with the $5 super chat. Who were some of your favorite WCW cruiserweights? Well, Juventud was awesome, and Rey Mysterio, I mean, nobody was better than him. Rey Mysterio, Juventud, Blitzkrieg, he wasn't there nearly long enough, but boy, he came in like a rocket, and then he disappeared. And I think he just totally left the wrestling business. This guy named Blitzkrieg, great, tremendous high flyer, and then didn't spend very long in wrestling, and then went on to have a career for himself outside the business. So he was kind of in and out, but I still, after all these years, I still remember Blitzkrieg. You know, it was always fun to see La Parka. I remember they brought in Prince Iakea. I think he had a run with the Cruiserweight title. Disco Dipshit was doing some Cruiserweight stuff. Jericho was great. Especially the heel conspiracy stuff he was doing in the Cruiserweight division. I thought Jericho was great. Justin Logue, a bad year for pumpkins was a Halloween Ends joke. That went right over my head. Actually, it's funny too, because I have a pumpkin on my shirt right now. You can't see it because the pumpkin is all the way on the bottom. Well, here's Ghostface. Say hello to Ghostface. But on the bottom, Ghostface is, well, there you go. He's carving and stabbing the shit out of a pumpkin. So it's funny that you're asking me about all this pumpkin stuff, and I literally have a pumpkin on my fucking shirt. Sean B with the $4.99. Braun, Carmelo, and Theory. 1 to 3. How would you rank them? You know, that's a tough one because they're all very talented, and I think they all are future world champions in this company. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to go Carmelo. I put Carmelo number 1. I'm a big Carmelo Hayes fan. I go Carmelo number 1. I think Theory number 2, Braun number 3, just because Braun is still very one-dimensional when it comes to promos. He's still very new to the business. I think over time he'll evolve. He'll evolve that character a little bit more. But yeah, still very advanced in the ring for somebody with his level of experience, and I think is going to be a big star, but still very one-dimensional. Theory is more of a well-rounded, character on TV than Braun Breaker is. So yeah, I would go Mello, Theory, and Braun right now. Rizzo, I don't know if I will be here on Wednesday, but happy Thanksgiving to you and the chat. Also, go Lions and go Michigan. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Rizzo. MLK, what are your top 5 non-WWE world titles? I will always love the previous incarnation of the IWGP Heavyweight Belt. That is a beautiful belt. The big gold belt, which I know WWE used the big gold belt, but I'm talking the big gold that Flair carried around in the late 80s. It was a different belt. Different looking belt. The WWE big gold belt had kind of thick black trim. The real big gold belt had a very thin border. Like the gold plate came to the very edge of the belt. You know, that's the version of the big gold belt that I think looked the best. The AEW World Championship is a beautiful fucking belt. So I put the AEW World title on there as well. There's some nice belts outside of WWE. The WWE top belts right now, actually, I think are the shittiest ones. Even the MLW belt, the MLW World title looks pretty good. You want to know what world title looks good? I'm being a little biased here, but honestly, if you take a look at it, it's a beautiful belt. We just debuted it last month and crowned our very first ever House of Glory World Champion in Jacob Fatu. Go take a look at a new picture of the new House of Glory World title. It's a beautiful belt. Rizzo, my parents did not buy that excuse for me when I accidentally turned on Erotic Confessions. Honestly, was just watching a game and I hit the wrong channel. Right. We can go with that story. That's fine. This is a judgment-free zone here. Rizzo, thank you. Oh. So that covers all of your super chats. Thank you for the love. Bearwolf says the NWA championship. See, I would have said the NWA title, but the NWA title has been forever sullied. We'll never be able to look at the NWA title the same way again. Drew McIntyre is with us tonight. The big bad solo daddy. Damn straight. And Tuxedo T Servo, $5 super chat. Cannot make the Wednesday stream, so happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody in the chat. Thank you very much. Apparently, Tuxedo and Rizzo may not be here on Wednesday, but you know who is going to be here on Wednesday? I'm going to be here on Wednesday. So that's going to be Thanksgiving Eve. And I hope you guys, if you are around, will join me for that. But before we wrap things up, we have one more piece of business to transact. That is Be the Booker, because we did hit our likes goal tonight. So let's do it. Let's be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
Thank you for helping us hit the goal tonight. It is still important, though, to get those likes up because it really does help with the algorithm on the show. So make sure before we're done here tonight, and even if we are done here, up on the archive version, you can still hit that like button. It helps push the video out to as many people as possible. So I can tell the entire wrestling community how boring I thought this television show was tonight. So let's do some Be the Booker, everybody. This is, I know, a favorite of many of you. We will begin with the men. We're going to try to book a random men's match, women's match, tag team match, and see how good we can do. Some Thanksgiving Be the Booker. Let's see how we do. We begin with Paul Heyman, the extreme version of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has technically wrestled before. He has been involved in some matches. Paul Heyman, actually, we're heading into War Games this weekend. Paul Heyman once led a team in what I believe to be the greatest War Games match of all time. Sting Squadron against the Dangerous Alliance back in 1992. Paul Heyman one-on-one with... I love it. Oh, I love it. Now, you know, technically, Paul Heyman is in this picture as well. Look, he's creeping up there in the back. But it is Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman, one-on-one in Be the Booker with Brock Lesnar. That may be the greatest Be the Booker that we have ever done. I mean, you can't script it. You can't even script it. Brock Lesnar against Paul Heyman. We should just shut this shit down because it ain't getting any better than that. Wow. Who would win in a match between Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman? Gee, I wonder. On the women's side, we begin with Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb, one of the members of the AEW roster. A fine professional wrestler in her own right. Can step into the ring with virtually anybody and have a very good match. It will be Serena Deeb going one-on-one with Jordynne Grace. Had Jordynne Grace wrestle in House of Glory. I've had the chance to call some of her matches and see her matches up close. Jordynne Grace is a very good professional wrestler. So that's a good one. That's 2 for 2 right there. Jordynne Grace and Serena Deeb would be a very good match. And now we advance to the grand finale. We have the tag team version of Be the Booker. And so we're going to do something a little bit different here because we are heading into Survivor Series. We are heading into War Games. War Games is usually 5-on-5. But because this is tag team Be the Booker, we're gonna do a War Games match. We're gonna pick 4 teams. We're gonna pick 2 teams to take on 2 other teams in a 2-ring War Games match. So here we go. We're about to book our first ever tag team War Games match. This is very exciting. Very exciting. We begin. Team number 1. I mean, nothing screams War Games like the Beverly Brothers, Bo and Blake. And do you realize that in NXT right now, Von Wagner, I believe it's Von Wagner, right, is the son of one of the Beverly, I think it's the Beverly brother on the right in this picture. Is that, who is that? I think that's Bo. But in any event. All right, who's going to be teaming up with the Beverly Brothers here in this War Games match? It'll be the Beverly Brothers and Degeneration X, Triple H and Shawn Michaels. That is one side of the War Games match. Are you excited yet? Are you spending your hard-earned money to see this match? DX and the Beverly Brothers. Who are their opponents? Well, 2 of their opponents are going to be Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, Red Dragon. Hey, Shawn Michaels and Triple H in the ring against Red Dragon. That's not bad. That's not bad. And teaming up with Red Dragon are the Quebecers, Jacques and Pierre. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Yay or nay on this is a War Games match? The Beverly Brothers and DX against the Quebecers and Red Dragon. I'm gonna. This is a tough one. There's some good talent in this match. There's some good talent. You know what? I'm giving it the bell. I'm giving it the bell. You got 8 professionals in that ring. I think that would end up being a very enjoyable War Games match. And you got a lot of old school guys in this match too. So you know that there's probably going to be some blood. You know there's probably going to be some blood. Hey, hit that subscribe button. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. We got some more super chats here to read off. We ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Who do we got? Who did we not get to? Cameron Spencer. Who is Tyrus? Is that Brodus Clay? Yes, it is the Funkasaurus. The Funkasaurus is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Thirsting Howell III says buy or sell. Live wire with Bruce from Connecticut or bite this with the TNA Trolls. Oh, we got to go. I mean, Live wire with Bruce from Connecticut. Live wire was a fun show. I used to wake up on Saturday mornings to watch Live wire. One of the only times that you will ever see Jim Cornette and Vince Russo in the same place at the same time on television was Live wire. And I had a thing for Sonny back then. So when Sonny would co-host, I had to make sure I watched Livewire. Luis Belmont show walkthroughs with the $5 super chat. We still have NXT, Dynamite, and SmackDown because Raw was snore tonight. Yes, and we actually have a Wesley Carmelo Hayes North American Championship match on NXT tomorrow night, which I'm sure is going to be excellent. So I am looking forward to that. All right, I will be with you live again, not for NXT tomorrow night. We'll save that for Sunday, but I will be live with you on Thanksgiving Eve. You know, Survivor Series many years ago used to be the Thanksgiving Eve tradition after it moved off of Thanksgiving night. And so as a young wrestling fan, I always knew Survivor Series to be the Thanksgiving Eve tradition. Well, now the new Thanksgiving Eve tradition is Solomonster on YouTube, reviewing AEW Dynamite. So hopefully before Turkey Day, you guys will join me. And then I will be live again Friday night for the SmackDown stream. That is the go-home show to Survivor Series. We'll find out who the fifth and final member of the women's babyface team is going to be in the War Games match. And Saturday night, live coverage of Survivor Series right here on YouTube, right back here as soon as the pay-per-view is over. Episode 784 of the podcast on Sunday. Back here live next Monday for Raw. Man, that's a lot of content. That is a lot of content, but you guys know how to find me. Brumakian Productions, thank you for the final super chat. He says Royal Rumble 92 or Royal Rumble 01 watch along. Pick one. Well, seeing as how I've already done a watch along for one of them, I'm going to go Royal Rumble 92 because we just had the 30th anniversary for the 92 Royal Rumble. That was the very first watch along that I did earlier this year. And that was exclusive for channel members. So you got to be a channel member. If you are a channel member, you go in the archives and go find it. Been there, done that. You got to keep up, Brumakian. You got to keep up, Brumakian. All right, be well, guys. Stay safe. Thank you for all the love tonight. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I will see you back here on Thanksgiving Eve for the AEW Dynamite post-Full Gear review. MJF and William Regal together. That is the expectation going forward, that they will be together. Very much like Paul Heyman and CM Punk. CM Punk did not need Paul Heyman, but they made for a very interesting combo on television. I think the same will be the case with MJF and William Regal. But we'll find out on Wednesday night. I'll see you then. Take care, guys.